Back at Houston Raceway Park, crew chief Gary Slosher, car owner Joe Paisano prepared Mike Dunn's mount for their semifinal battle against Don the Snake Prudhomme. And they just got some bad news. Prudhomme's 540 will give the four-time Winston champion lane choice. Dunn needs every break now he can get.
On the starting line, Mark Oswald has got a brand new body on that Motorcraft entry of Candies and Hughes. This is the Ford Probe. And Steve, if you thought Bob Glidden's car looked like a funny car, this is what one looks like.
It is swoopy, but so then is the Dodge Daytona of Johnny West, the Hawaiian car owned by Roland Leon. And that car is a much tougher opponent now than it was earlier in the year. West qualified at a 543, their best effort in a long time. You know, Dave, I never can recall a funny car team qualifying with one body, as the Candies and Hughes team did earlier in the weekend with a Thunderbird body, and then going to a different body configuration. Unless, of course, they burned or blew one up. They did all of this on purpose.
Well, the Thunderbird body worked well in qualifying. It put him in the number 3 spot. Oswald with a 5.35 second elapsed time. Johnny West at the wheel of Roland Leon's Hawaiian Punch Special is certainly competitive from his number 7 qualifying spot. But the interesting thing to note is that Mark Oswald can make a big move in the Winston points chase. Kenny Bernstein, the points leader, went out in round number 1. If Oswald should advance and win through the semifinals, he would move into the points lead for the $150,000 season-ending bonus payout.
And there's one of those great big 17-inch wide rear slick tires. But as the car goes down the racetrack and accumulates speed, that tire grows. At the finish line, you're only running on about half of that width.
Oswald with the lane choice in the near lane, and Johnny West goes up in smoke. Oswald through the traps and recording an elapsed time of 5.46 seconds. His speed 251 miles an hour. All of the cars that have advanced into the semifinals have been most consistent in the mid-540 range. As we look again, you see the problem started for Johnny West right off the starting line. The clutch maybe just a bit too tight, maybe too much horsepower, but whatever the problem, it occurred very quickly for Johnny West and put him out of competition and advanced Mark Oswald into the semifinals to run against Bruce Larson, who has the lane choice. The other pair finds 2 record holders, Mike Dunn for speed, Don Prudhomme for ET, the Snake having the choice of lanes. Let's go to Steve at the far end with Mark Oswald.
Well, with that win light, Mark Oswald picks up 200 more Winston points as he tries to gun down Kenny Bernstein, who went out round number 1. Nice race.
Oh, thank you. We need to capitalize on every point we can. You know, Kenny had a little bit of misfortune. We need to capitalize on it. That's what, you know, getting ahead's all about.
You know, 20 minutes ago, I told you your 546, which cost you lane choice, would have been bad news. It doesn't look like it now. That lane's coming around fine.
Yeah, you know, it is that run there, the car just never did get a grip on the racetrack down track. The motor's just freewheeling down there, so it's plenty loose. So it's going to be anybody's race.
Okay, Mark Oswald to the semis.
Mark now preparing himself for the race against Bruce Larson, while back on the starting line, a teammate of Larson's, Joe Amato, getting ready for his semifinal run in Top Fuel. The new Houston Raceway Park, a complex built on some 500 acres just outside of Baytown, Texas, at a cost of some $6 million, was completed in 6 months construction time. Practically a record for a project of this size, and it has already become a record-holding racetrack.
Well, speaking of records, Joe Amato has an opportunity here, but I wonder if he'll take it. He could set both ends of the NHRA national record. That would be worth 400 Winston points, the equivalent of 2 rounds of racing. But you take the chance of smoking the tire.
Not only is he worried about setting the records, he's also got to be concerned with Connie Coletta, the competitor in the far lane of the track. Coletta showing thus far the best performances he has had in nearly 5 years. His 5.06 second qualifying time matches very favorably with the 5-second flat that has been turned by Joe Amato. Both drivers just a blink of an eye away from a 4-second elapsed time. Earlier, Steve brought us this Quaker State Quick Fact.
One of the most important racer services here at the Fram Supernationals or any NHRA national event is Team Torch. the official NHRA welder. Well, this is a great looking rig, isn't it? But more importantly, on board are all the different welding apparatuses needed. There's oxygen acetylene, but primarily that's just for heating or cutting of plate. The most important welding is being done right now by the fastest weld on wheels himself, Paul Lesage. One of Scott Coletta's funny car headers being repaired with Heliarc, a water-cooled tip, so that he can weld for hours and hours without having to stop. Also, for repairing trailers and things like that, there is electric arc on board. Also, all of the tubing that he may need at his trade to repair a roll bar or a wheelie bar or a wing strut. He can weld steel, aluminum, iron, just about anything, and he's got all of the saws necessary and benders to put it in whatever shape he wants. So you can bet whenever a racer stays up all night repairing a crash car, that man, Paul Lesage, will be right at his side.
Just one of the many people that contribute to the overall success of this spectacle of NHRA championship drag racing. Joe Amato, the points leader in the chase for the $150,000 season-ending payout in the near lane of the track. Connie Coletta, the veteran of more than 25 years of top fuel racing in the far lane.
Joe Amato, the U.S. national champion, a title that has long eluded Connie Coletta, even though he was one of the first drivers ever to top the 200-mile-per-hour mark. Amato near lane, Coletta far lane. For Coletta it's pride, for Amato it's points.
And Joe Amato just squeezes out a victory. This was the quickest side-by-side race in history. 5.07 second elapsed time for the winner, Joe Amato. A 5.09 second elapsed time for Connie Coletta. Coletta just a few hundredths of a second slower off the starting line. At the finish line, it was Joe Amato, and just look at the margin of victory. Oh, so slim. Let's go to the far end, and Steve Evans with the winner.
Joe Amato was just on the winning end of the quickest side-by-side race, I believe, in drag racing history. You're 5:07 to Connie's 5:09. What a war.
Oh, it's tough out there. That's really good runs on that track out there. You know, we knew we were going to have to run good, and so Timmy put a little power to it and hoping it was enough, and it was. We were side-by-side all the way down the track.
You know, one more round like this, you could have a big enough points lead to go to the Bank of Old Forge and borrow money on that Winston $150,000 bonus.
Well, we'd like to win the Winston Championship, but it's not over yet. We don't want to count our chickens. We're real glad we're this far. Now we want to win this race, and then we'll worry about the championship next time.
I want to put you on the spot a little bit. It's cooling off. The track is good. The right lane is even good. What are the chances of a record in the final?
Well, I'd like to really run a 4 and get the speed record back up to 287. I mean, that'd really rip their hearts out, and what a way to win a race.
Indeed, that'd be a backbreaker. Joe Amato goes to the final round. Let's go back to the starting line.
Steve Joe obviously enthused about the performance of his brand new race car, but the fans at Houston Raceway Park have been waiting for this one. The Battle of the Texans. Eddie Hill in the near lane from Wichita Falls. Gene Snow at the wheel of the Emily Oil Special. In the far lane of the racetrack, Tales from Fort Worth. You know, running a high gear only top fuel dragster flies in the face of what used to be conventional wisdom of how to cover a quarter mile as quickly as possible. Normal thinking would call for the lowest gear possible in the rear end to pull a high gear only car. But Gene Snow does exactly the opposite. Steve took a look.
Part of Gene Snow's 4-second success is the overall drive ratio in the rear end of his top fuel dragster. It's a 310, the highest ever built for drag racing, and only Gene has that gear. I'll explain that later. Here's a typical rear end out of a dragster. You see the ring gear and the pinion gear. Now here's a set out of the rear end, and the ratio is determined by dividing the number of teeth on the ring gear into the pinion gear. This is a 320. Anybody can buy that. Gene Snow went to a gear manufacturer some months ago and wanted a 310 gear built. He had to have 25 sets made before they'd do it. He invested a ton of money, which is why he is unwilling to share that gear ratio, and certainly nobody can blame him. It may be well into next year before any gear manufacturer can come up with a 310 for everybody else. So for that amount of time anyway, Gene Snow will enjoy that advantage.
Every racer looking for the edge. That's why they call them speed secrets. Gene Snow's got this one. He hopes it will work against Eddie Hill.
A pair of Texas legends. Three-stage. Gene Snow moves in, followed by Eddie Hill. And look at this race. Straight up in the air goes Gene Snow.
And down the racetrack, Eddie Hill thunders to a new national record. 4.990 at over 282 miles an hour. The crew chief on this race car, Fuzzy Carter, is a happy man. As we look again, keep your eyes on Gene Snow in the far lane. As he came off the starting line, the wheels instantly popped up in the air. And then one of the most unusual occurrences you will ever see, a wheel stand with the tires just blazing. Gene Snow has to lift. Eddie Hill goes on and takes away Gene Snow's record to advance into the finals with Joe Amato. Hill obviously has the choice of lanes. Let's go to Steve.
How many fingers do you see?
I see 4.
That's what it was. The quickest time ever, 4:99 with a 0. You now own the record.
I got the record.
You bet you do. Your 5:03 backs it up.
All right. Well, Gene's was a little worse than that.
Trust me on that. You got the record.
Good Lord. I got, wow, fantastic.
I'll tell you, this Texas crowd has gone crazy.
I bet they went bananas. Hey, did Gene get in trouble? I saw him.
Yes, sir. He stood it right up on end. He's okay.
He's all right? Oh, great. Man, what a race. How'd they do on the start, do you know?
You did good all the way down the racetrack.
Oh,
you know, 24 hours ago, the depth of despair, now the record and going into the finals. Unbelievable.
Is this a roller coaster ride or what? I mean, just a few hours ago, it seemed like we were totally out of parts and all, and then so many people, all our competitors and everything, our sponsors stepped up with offers of credit, more money. The blower that we got was loaned to us by Whiting, which we bumped out of the program, and he didn't mind. I went over and told him, apologize.
Okay.
What a sport.
All right, indeed, what a sport. Ursi's down here. There's the record holder.
Meantime, back in the pit area, the work continuing on Don Prudhomme's Pontiac. His crew getting that race car ready to go against the Oldsmobile of Joe Pisano with his driver, Mike Dunn. Prudhomme holding the all-important choice of lane. The celebration continues at the far end of the racetrack. The new national record holder, Eddie Hill, into the finals of the Fram Supernationals.